Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. So I'm coming on here outside of our typical posting schedule because, like I mentioned in our last collective reading video, I want to dive deeper into some threads of energy that tend to come up in those collective readings. And these mini readings feel like such a beautiful space to really deep dive into some of those moments in the collective reading where there's some kind of insight or breakthrough that comes through, because I know that often when we are in the middle of one of those collective readings, we are really trying to kind of pull in a lot of different threads of energy and do sort of a deep dive of so many different dynamics coming up that sometimes we don't get a chance within those videos to really dive deep on a specific energy that you could be experiencing either within yourself, in a current connection, or in your life, which of course often those layers of things in your life are actually all connected. So very often what you're experiencing internally may actually also be a parallel dynamic that you are experiencing in your life generally or in a specific relationship. I don't know why I felt guided to say that right then, but I feel like even that is a message for someone. So you may be noticing how these layers sort of your existence play out energy dynamics that seem kind of related. I know we're starting off the reading a little bit vague, but I feel this is all going to tie together, and I'm going to trust the process, which is definitely a message for someone as well, because I know that you in your own life right now, in your own way, are probably being asked to trust some kind of process that's unfolding. And this is not easy to let go and trust the process. For some reason, I'm seeing someone holding on like by a rope and swinging out, like, I don't know, over the ocean or something, almost like when you jump off as a kid into some like body of water, and sometimes you'll have like a rope that you hold on to while you're like jumping off. I don't know if that image is coming through clearly, but I'm getting this sense of someone who feels like they're sort of like, I don't know, part of them is still holding on to some old part of themselves. Maybe that's that rope that you're hanging from and you've been kind of swinging in that energy, but now you are soaring and like meant to be letting go and trusting and like leaping out into the water, so to speak, in this kind of loose metaphor that's coming through here. And so what I'm hearing are ups and downs. I'm getting that if this reading is connecting with you, you've been really experiencing a lot of ups and downs within this kind of energy that we've been in. And so, for example, I did a reading video a couple days ago or I guess it was just yesterday as of when I'm posting this. Have you noticed that time is acting kind of strange as well? Because I've definitely noticed a sort of change in how we perceive time. And it seems to go both directions. Like sometimes you can feel as though days have passed when it's only been a day or even an hour. And in other cases, you can feel like weeks fly by and it felt like a day. So if you've been experiencing that, I would really be interested to hear from you in the comments if there's anything from your personal experience that you feel guided to share. Ooh, I'm hearing something else about sharing from the heart. So maybe in general in your life, you are sharing something from the heart. Maybe there's something in this world that you're creating from the heart. And I feel that if this reading is connecting for you, you may also be part of that group that connected with the Divine Feminine reading that I did last night. I feel like this may also be a Divine Feminine reading because I'm getting that many Divine Feminines will resonate with the messages here, although of course, we all have a balance internally of divine masculine and divine feminine energy. So you could resonate with either dynamic, but this is going to connect with your inner divine feminine. And I always say in these readings, only take the messages that do resonate for you personally, because I like to channel into many different groups and people and situations. So of course, your intuition at the end of the day is really your highest guide in this life. But I am getting something about how there is a divine feminine listening here who is transmuting energy and emotional energy especially. And somehow this seems to directly correlate to these highs and lows that you are experiencing. Now, I don't really have that full picture pulled together yet. I really just wanted to come on here and open up the channel and start to tune into the energy to see what wants to come through. So I am going to start shuffling. And so I want to know what we can channel for the Divine Feminine about this process of energy transmutation, where you are taking your emotions and you're infusing them into something. And this is picking up that thread of energy from the collective reading most recently, where we talked about how you as a Divine Feminine are connecting with the collective heart space. And I was speaking to a very specific group of people who have this very rare gift to, in essence, kind of keep a pulse on the collective heartbeat, to have this awareness of what's going on in the collective. But I'm hearing it's not fully a conscious awareness, it's a subconscious feeling. So you experience what the collective is feeling or experiencing in your own moods or energy shifts. And I know this message is going to get hyper specific, but I just know that for someone listening, you've been doing this your whole life. I'm literally seeing the image of a child. So I feel like from when you were a child, you've always probably been labeled by others as quote unquote overly sensitive or too emotional, or I'm hearing taking everything too personally. Maybe people would say things like this to you, but the reason that you quote unquote take things personally is because you feel things personally. When something's happening to someone else or on a collective level, you do feel it in your person. You feel it in your own body and in your own emotions as though it is your own. But I'm getting that you did this unconsciously for a long time, and when this would happen unconsciously, it felt like a weight or like a burden, but you're becoming more conscious of it now and realizing that when you become conscious, this goes from being a quote unquote burden to actually being a superpower. And again, this actual rare gift. It's like a total perspective shift is happening within you, where you're beginning to perceive this part of you that got judged as overly sensitive or too emotional or whatever, even weak. You may have seen this part of you as weak, but it's only because you are such a strong soul and an ancient soul that has lived many lifetimes and, in essence, trained for this through many lifetimes, that you are so strong that you are capable of having, I'm hearing, this kind of collective access. This also makes you a really powerful creator, which I know we're kind of peeling this back layer by layer, but these things go hand in hand, because when you are someone who has a beat on the collective pulse of the heart space of the global collective, yes, you will at times maybe feel overwhelmed, because there will be moments where you will just be going about your day, going for a walk, doing the dishes, waking up in the morning, trying to sleep, and suddenly, sometimes even in the middle of the night, you will be inundated by this emotion that feels like yours, but doesn't really have a known cause. So you can know that this is for you if this often happens for you, where, again, even from childhood, you would just suddenly feel a very strong emotion that didn't really feel connected to your physical reality. So you would suddenly feel really sad or really anxious or really fearful or really angry or whatever the case was. And this is because you've always had this gift of picking up on what's happening in the collective or in certain collectives. So I'm hearing that this can sort of, in a way, float around. So you can almost be assigned to feel for certain collectives because you are transmuting energy for that collective. So, for example, when you were young, maybe it was your immediate family or a person around you. And as a child, you would unconsciously feel the anger or the sadness or the grief or the fear of people around you who may have not even been expressing those things or showing those things consciously. And for some of you, maybe it is even still your family that you feel those things for, that you, in essence, kind of emotionally express for. But for others of you, at times it could have been your classmates in school. It could have been a community, a religious group, or some other kind of group. It could have been different family systems or larger family collectives. It could have been a geographical region, or even at times the global collective. So I'm hearing that you may have noticed it kind of changing what collective you are tapped into. But in essence, whenever this happens, whenever you are feeling for a certain collective, which I'm getting for many of you at this point, you're actually feeling on a global level. So you are now not just picking up what's happening in a family system or in a community, you're actually feeling global shifts and changes through your own emotions and instantaneously. But the reason that this is a gift is because when you have this ability, you're actually also able to powerfully transmute that energy for entire collectives. And the way that you transmute with that energy is by actually moving it through you in some way, instead of letting it sit with you. And I feel this is the breakthrough that has been changing everything for you. I feel like I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. Of course, you're very intuitive and very tapped in. So I'm getting that, if anything, this video is meant to be more so like a confirmation for what you've already been picking up on and sensing as someone who is so intuitive. So you've most likely been noticing that when you move this energy, when you create with it, when you infuse it into something, when you even just at times express it, moving this energy, it doesn't have to be inherently creative, although I know for many of you it is, because I read through even some of your comments, which by the way, were so inspiring to me on the most recent collective reading that I did just earlier today. I invited you to share if there was anything in your life that you were proud of, or that you were creating or doing in this world that you wanted to celebrate with our community here. And so many of you shared the most profound and beautiful and inspiring messages in the comments. And I was just smiling and even tearing up at times reading through so many of your stories, so much of what you're working on and creating in this world. And it was so inspiring even to me on a deeply personal level, and I'm sure to many, many, many other people around you as well. But the point is, yes, sometimes this energy transmutation, of course, can look creative. Many of you here are creatives. But also it doesn't have to be, or it doesn't have to be all the time. Even if you are someone who often creates with this emotional energy, there may be times where it's so heavy, all you can do is acknowledge it and love yourself through it and let yourself feel through it and just let it be expressed. So at times this might look like crying, or maybe going for a walk, or taking a salt bath, or just letting yourself feel and process whatever that energy is. But again, very often you also are able to take those emotional waves that you pick up on and use them as, well, in a way, personal creative activations. But then as a result of that, it allows you to create things that then have a very magnetic energy, because people can sense when they then come across your creations that you are connected to the heart space of the collective, and that there is that heart chakra energy infused into whatever you are creating, whether it's art or music or writing or some kind of business or something you're doing online, or even if it's just showing up in the way that you exist. I think I touched on this in our collective reading as well, but often people feel as though something about you is very familiar. But the reason for that is because you are someone who is connected to the collective heart. And so they almost like feel you in their heart, like they have this awareness that you've been connected to their heart space on some level for a while before they meet you in the physical. And there's something about your eyes as well coming up here, a bit of a side message, but how your eyes carry this like warmth and this heart open energy. And I'm also getting a message from someone's guides that if you are ever in a moment and wondering, what do I do now? Or feeling overwhelmed, or feeling confused, or feeling like you're being inundated with a lot of energy, something that you can do if you would like to facilitate this process of allowing this energy to move through you is simply to ask yourself internally in that moment, even if you're in a crowded place or at a restaurant or with your family or friends, to internally ask yourself, maybe even put your hand over your heart if you can, but ask yourself, how can I keep my heart open in this moment? And I'm getting a wave of chills as I said that. I feel like this is going to be so powerful for someone, because when you ask yourself, how can I keep my heart open in this moment? You are essentially saying to the universe, like, work through me, let that energy flow through me. And again, that energy is so magnetic, yes, but also the more connected you are with your heart, the more aligned you are with your highest timeline. And the reason that is from a quantum perspective is because you, of course, have many energy centers, but your heart chakra generates the most powerful energy of any of your energy centers. It's like the generator, the core generator of your whole field. So heart chakra energy is an electromagnetic signal that is very powerful, even when it comes to manifesting and, again, aligning. Well, the more energy that you're exuding, the faster the rate of that vibration, which naturally lifts you to a higher level of frequency, which then connects you with a higher timeline. So again, like the more open the heart is, the more you have this naturally higher frequency, which is connecting you with a higher timeline. And when we talk about that highest timeline, we're talking about the timeline that naturally includes the trajectory of all of your highest dreams and goals and desires, but all in harmony in a very effortless way, not in a way that you have to really overthink about or try to like apply heavy effort to. It all comes naturally on your highest timeline because you're aligning with the frequency where all of your desires, the conscious and the subconscious ones, exist in perfect harmony with each other. An emphasis on the subconscious desires, which have been coming up in recent readings as well. This idea that when you connect with your highest timeline, you're putting yourself in harmony, even with the desires that you may not be able to consciously define or articulate. This really is what we sometimes call 5D manifestation. This is you tapping into a whole new level of manifesting. And if you would like assistance in really helping yourself to activate that heart chakra energy and to stay connected to a higher timeline, then I do have a few subliminals to recommend based on this reading. I will be channeling a few final messages for you from your spirit guides, your higher self, whatever divine forces you connect with. So I'm going to be pulling some cards for that. I just realized we're 18 minutes in and I haven't even pulled a card, but I've just felt so in flow in this reading. Thanks to all of you, by the way, who are here. So thank you for being a co-creator here with me on the channel. I am so grateful for you every single day. So I just wanted to say that as well. But the subliminals that I would recommend from my app, well, there's a few of them, and you can even combine these into a personal private playlist in the app because you can create your own unlimited playlist. You can name them and organize the tracks on them and listen to any of these in 10 different background sound options. So there is a lot to explore on the Sound and Soulful app. This really is my soul's passion project and something that I love sharing with all of you. But I would most highly recommend for this reading, first of all, my heart chakra activation subliminal, because we've been talking so much about the heart chakra. So this will really help you to activate and amplify that heart chakra energy. I would also recommend my subliminal called magnetic feminine energy, because this is designed for the divine feminine to really tap you into that effortless flow state where you're manifesting with more ease and grace, more from that 5D perspective that we've been talking about, but also generating this like magnetic field around you that effortlessly attracts the things that you desire and the connections that are supportive and nourishing for you. So the third that I would really recommend here is Ultimate Alchemist Transformation, because what we've been talking about as far as transmutation is essentially emotional alchemy. And the alchemists of old used to believe that they could take raw materials that were worth nothing, like basically rocks, and turn them into precious metals like gold. And I love this metaphor in spiritual language because You are an emotional alchemist. You are taking these raw materials of your own emotion that may have felt very dense or heavy, or maybe were labeled by people around you as worthless, although of course they were never worthless, but maybe they got labeled that way, when in actuality you were sitting on potential gold. It just had to be transmuted, and that transmutation work is what you're doing now. This is really designed to help you step into your dream life by getting the energy positively moving in every area of your life. It is super detailed, so it will help you to reprogram your subconscious to attract more of what you desire in love, in terms of your soul fulfillment, your relationships, your appearance, really every area of your life that may be relevant to you. So those are my top recommendations, and I will leave them in the pinned comment and description box for your reference as well, if anything there was resonating for you. And if you don't yet have the Sound and Soulful app, I highly recommend checking it out. On this app, I have over 150 subliminals for love, relationships, appearance, business, money, for energy clearing, mood, mindset, and so many other things as well. Subliminals have been my number one most powerful tool throughout my life that, well, the past several years since I've discovered them, they've helped me to shift my mindset through the portal of the subconscious mind in every area of my life. And really, when I started listening to them years ago, that's when I even got the inspiration to start this channel and to open up my own business online and to start my own platforms. And I know many of you are doing and creating those things as well. So I love creating subliminals that I both personally use, and then also to inspire you in your own path in this world. So all of the information on that is below. And when you create an account in the app, you can get 7 days free. So you can try out any subliminal I've created in 10 different background sound options, totally free. See how it works for you and helps you to shift your energy even just after your first time listening. So the link to get the app and get started is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. But let's go ahead and close this reading by channeling a few final messages from your guides or your higher self. So what can I channel from the guides of the divine feminine? I'm hearing prepare for love with door to romance in the upright position. Clearly there's someone listening here who has been, I'm hearing in this preparation phase to receive the most powerful love connection of your life. Now, this doesn't have to be romantic. Maybe this is like a new friend coming into your life, or this could be love coming in the form of just feeling seen and understood and appreciated in this world in a different way. I caught this like glimpse for a second of someone creating online or on platforms or putting their art out into the world, and so many people flocking to it and like showering love on the things that you're creating. So for some of you, this could be love in the form of just finally feeling recognition, because I'm getting the energy of someone who has been feeling so much, again, from the collective their entire life. And now you're having this breakthrough where you are beginning to recognize that this has never been a weakness, but a gift. And that it's also, in a way, your gift to give to the collective, because when you have a beat on the collective pulse, as we've been saying, and you're connected to the collective heart space, you're also able to create in a way that holds heart resonance. So in the process, yes, you're moving that energy out of you and into your physical creations, but at the same time, you're also creating things that people will find very healing for their own heart and very activating for themselves at the same time. So I feel like that's a beautiful place to close this reading. That just felt like such an aligned closing message. So I'm going to go ahead and pull one final Rumi Oracle card, because you guys know I love the Rumi messages, and I always feel that it's such an inspiring note to close the readings on. And the card to come out is Merciful Mother Jamal. Here now receive this solace, comfort, and mercy, for not all success must be hard won. The compassion of the All-Merciful shall soften the hard edges of your life and your being and bring you the grace that is deserved. Ask the Mother of Mercy to bless any matter into divinely inspired resolution. Know that your prayers are powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and close the reading there. Thank you so much again for being here. If this did resonate for you, I invite you to subscribe, join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself. You can check out my music. I am a singer-songwriter and I create channeled songs under my artist name, Songs by Infinity. And the best place to follow my music is Spotify. That's where you can read the channeled music along with the songs. So the link to that is below as well. And of course, if the subliminals I mentioned earlier resonate with you, the link to get my sound and soulful subliminals app and get started for free is also underneath this video. Otherwise, I am sending you all so much love. Have an amazing day, and I will connect with you here again in the next video.